What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to give a complete guide and run through of how to use the pie feature on Trading 212, and after giving a complete breakdown of that, we will then discuss the new pie library feature. But just before we dive into all of that, could I please ask, if you're new around here, to consider subscribing to the channel, as we're just 23 subscribers away from our next goal of 600. And with all that being said, let's dive right on over to Trading 212. Firstly, you may ask yourself, what actually is a pie? And on Trading 212, this is one of their main features. So in kind of quick summary, a pie is an accumulation of your stocks or shares that you want to group together. So a lot of people, like I did before, I'd have grouped them together in terms of sectors, but now you see that I have 6 overall pies. 5 of these are for ARK ETFs, and the 6th pie here is the one I use for my normal 30 stock blue chip company ETF portfolio. It's also worth noting that your investments will be in the drop down on the left here individually, but again, if you want to accumulate these or group them into any kind of sector or group, then you can create a pie. And to do so, all you need to do is simply go down to the bottom of the pie feature drop down menu and you click create a pie. When you click the create pie feature, this is what you'll be presented with. And one of the great things about the pies is that they have a lot of inbuilt features as well, such as rebalancing your portfolio in terms of weightings. You can auto or manually invest depending on which kind of style investing you want to undertake. You can see your projected investment based on 5 years historic market performance. You can also name your pie, and you can even import and export stocks depending on what you want to do with your investments. When you click the add instruments button, you'll be presented with the following screen, and you can put as many stocks as you want. For example, anywhere from, let's say, 1 to 200 companies or even more, depending on what style investing you want to undertake. But for the purpose of this video, just let's click the top 5 companies that came up automatically here, and we'll click next. We will then be brought to the next screen where you can customize your pie even more. We can see, for example, on the left, the average annual return is 41.4% based on 5 years historic market performance on these companies. We can also put in a name, so we'll just call it YouTube for just the purpose of the video. You can change your icon here. So the icons aren't great in my opinion, but let's just put it as the money sign here. Then on the right, we have our 5 instruments, and you can adjust the weightings of these accordingly. It's also worth noting that after you create your final pie, you can add or delete in any companies at any given time as you please. So just because you create them with these 5 companies doesn't necessarily mean you need to keep these 5 companies. And that is also true to weightings. The weightings need to add up to 100% before you can continue, and these can be adjusted any time of your investment career. But it's also worth noting as well that you don't actually need to follow these weightings if you manually invest. This only comes into play if you auto invest, which we will talk about next. As stated, you will then be given the option to auto invest or manually invest. Again, it completely is up to you. For example, I manually invest because I dollar cost average mainly is my investment technique I use. But if you just want to have an auto invest set up, we look into both examples just to give you a kind of an idea of what each is. So if you click into the auto invest and click next, you will then be brought to this screen, your investment plan. You can adjust a lot of things here. On the right hand side, we can change the years. So let's just say you want to bring that back to 5 years. But a monthly amount you want to put in is, let's say, €500, be a bit more realistic. You can change your schedule. So you can go from monthly, you can go daily, weekly, bi-weekly, every 6 months, etc. Again, all depending on what way you want to invest yourself. And you can also put in an initial deposit. So just based off the criteria on the right here, you can see on the left, after 5 years, by putting in €500 a month, your overall contribution will be 30,000, and your value based on, again, 5 years historic market performance will be over €100,000. And if you want to manually invest, you simply just click the manual invest button that was on the right, and you'll be brought to your screen here again that your pie has been created. So then once your pie is created, you are presented with a lot more options again, which is very good for personalization. We have 3 drop downs: the overview, holdings, and auto invest. So we'll look through each of these 3 tabs briefly. On the overview drop down, we can see your amount invested, your cash returns. We then have the option with dividends to auto or to manually invest, so you can put the dividends automatically to reinvest, or you can leave them out and keep them as cash. So that's another option you have. If you scroll down further, we have your investment goal option where you can set that up. So if you just wanted to say you wanted to have 100,000 euro invested, you could update the goal, and you can see then that has created a bar underneath your YouTube pie that will give you your percentage of the way that you actually are there. So that'll be good again for tracking where you are in terms of your goals. You can scroll down below even more, and you have the share pie feature option, and this can be used if you want to leave other people see what companies you have in your pies and for what weightings. And we'll also talk about the pie library later on in the video. Down below at the very bottom, there are 3 more options. Firstly, you can delete your pie if you wish. There is then the chance to duplicate the pie if you want to, for example, create the exact same pie, but maybe you want to change the weightings, or you want to manually or auto invest into the other one. And you also have the option down here as well as personalizing, again, if you want to update the name or the icon. Once you actually have investments in your portfolio, there is also another option if you just go into my next generation internet of, let's say, you can also put in and you can import and export companies. We then have the holdings drop down. This will show you the amount of holdings you have, and it gives you kind of a summary of a visualization of the pie in terms of weightings. You can see then below your investments, how much you actually have invested in each, your overall profit or loss, your weightings. Again, these can be adjusted at any time, and the weightings don't really come into play if you're manually investing. And again, as I stated a small bit earlier, you have the option of importing or exporting companies into your pie depending on what you actually want to do. You then have the auto invest feature that I just mentioned. This can be adjusted or turned on or off at any given time. So at the moment, this pie is at manual adjustment, but you can see how quick and easy it is if you wanted to, let's say, start auto investing again, and you'll be given this investment plan feature where you can actually fill in or adjust at any given time for your own investment needs. So that's firstly the kind of a brief rundown of how to use the pie feature on Trading 212 and the different options and personalization features that you can use while using that app. And unfortunately, when using the pie library, this is only available on your web mobile app, as it's not available yet on the web browser. So to carry on this video, I'm going to jump over onto my mobile. Here now on my mobile device in the pie library section, we can see here that on the top drop down we have top dividends, ARK diversified growth, tech, ETFs, etc. And you also have the saved option. Down below is your options. So just based off the top one that came up here, the dividend experiment, there's an almost daily dividends. So if you can click into any of these shared pies as you wish, you can see the amount of people that has copied the pie, over 20,000, which is crazy numbers. You can see the amount of views. The percentage of the annual return is about 7.5%. The person that created the pie can also give you a description of what the pie intends to do in terms of if it wants to give dividends, growth, diversification, etc. You can see their YouTube channel. You can also scroll down and see the pie owner. You can see the slices on what positions and what weightings they give to each of the companies, which is quite handy also. If and when you found a pie that you actually like or want to invest in, let's just click on the ARK Innovation one here as an example. If you like this pie and you don't really want to add in manually the 40 or 50 companies yourself, you can simply click the copy pie feature here, and then you'll be given the option of keeping, first of all, the 46 companies that are already in the pie, and also the weightings for each of these companies. Now, I don't really recommend you just blindly going in and picking any kind of pie instead of actually looking into the companies yourself. But what I do like about this feature is that it does give you ideas and options on what other investors are doing, which certainly can do no harm in your own investing. It's also worth noting that I've seen in a lot of the comment sections in a lot of these pies is that people are wondering, will they automatically update if the person that created the pie changes any of the positions? And the answer is no for now. So for example, let's say the top one here, the dividend experiment, if you copy this pie right now and tomorrow, let's say the owner decided to cut 20 of these companies, then you won't be notified and you wouldn't actually know of the adjustments. So you only get to copy what's actually there at any given time. I've also been asked as well if my own 5 ARK ETF investment pies that I created or copied, should I say, and also my own 30 company blue chip Never Never Finance ETF, if I'm going to start using the pie library so others could start to copy. and I actually think I will start doing that, and I will give you an update on this throughout the week. So there you have it, guys. That was a video of a complete run through or rundown of how to use the Trading 2 and 2 Pi features and what it actually is, and also all of the inbuilt features within the feature itself. So I really hope this was helpful for anyone that was looking for questions or answers on anything Pi related on Trading 2 and 2. And we also had a quick look at the new Trading 2 and 2 Pi library feature, which I feel is a very good tool to have going forward. If you found this video anyway helpful or entertaining, it'd be brilliant if you consider liking the video. And again, if you're new around here, it'd be brilliant if you consider subscribing to the channel, as it would really help the channel out going forward also. And finally, and more importantly, if you have any more questions or queries on anything Pi related, please comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks very much, guys. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's video.